Hi and welcome to week 5 of Dare to Thrive. This week your theme is your goals. You notice we're a little bit different this week. I've got a flip chart and I've got a pen. So what you need to do is you need to get your workbook out and get yourself a pen so you can make some notes along the way, because I'm going to talk about the first section of the workbook. So we're going to start off discussing the well-being triangle. This side is nutrient, this side is physical, and down here is emotional. What this triangle is showing you is that actually your nutrient, what you're eating, your calorie intakes, all that kind of thing, your physical side of things, how much you're moving, the kind of exercise you're doing, and your emotional well-being all fit together. In order for you to have a triangle, all three of these areas need to be looked at and you need to be maintaining them. Where I work is down here in the emotional element, and what I'm looking at is your language. So the language my clients use tells me a great deal about their confidence and self-esteem, so I'm always very mindful of the language, and that's what we're going to play around with this week. We're going to look at the language you're putting in your goals and get you to understand the different ways of structuring them to increase your confidence and self-esteem and your motivation for doing that goal. This is not one I prepared earlier. Just let me go with that. You can tell how many takes we've been doing now. That means just ignore those two flip charts. That's for another video that we'll get later. So, how goals are structured. So we've got I will, I shall, I should, I'll try, and I want to. These aren't all the ways that we start a goal, but these are quite common ways to start a goal. You'll notice there's nothing about the goal yet. It's literally just the first two words. If I was talking to you and you said to me at the beginning of your goal, I will or I shall, the first thing I would say is timeline. What is your timeline? If you don't have a timeline, you don't have motivation. But also, you can't prioritise your goal. How can you decide on when to start actioning a goal if you don't actually know when you're going to want to have delivered it by? So it's critical that you have a timeline and you think about that. I should create guilt. So at the time of year, we're starting to maybe think about New Year's resolutions if you're a New Year's resolution person. And we tend to create goals that will start with I will or I shall. So an example I hear a lot is I will go to the gym more in the new year. Okay, brilliant, that's your goal. However, what you'll hear is New Year, there's no timeline, and I will go to the gym. There's no definition about how many times you're going to go to the gym, what you're going to do when you get to the gym. There's nothing there, it's just a statement that people believe is a goal, but it isn't actually. Over time, that goal will then become I should. I should go to the gym. You're still not going to the gym, but now you're telling yourself off for not doing it. So I will and I shall goals, without the right timeline structuring, will end up being I should goals, and it will attack your confidence and self-esteem. We also tend to tell people about our should goals. We tend to talk about them with our colleagues. So not only are we making ourselves feel bad, we're actually verbalising it with other people, which just maximises how we feel about ourselves and the negative thoughts that come with that. I'll try is a really interesting one, because what you're saying here is I'll try, but I think I'm going to fail. And that creates a really interesting dynamic, because if you think you're going to fail at something, one of two things will happen. Either you'll struggle to get started, because why would you start something you think you're going to fail? Or you'll actually put things in place that increase the likelihood of you failing. Because you think you're going to fail anyway, you then start to think about it in a different way. It's quite an interesting one, I'll try, and it is very detrimental to your confidence and self-esteem. And the last one, I want to. This lacks motivation. Because you may say, I want to do something, but it doesn't mean that you'll ever do it. So any goal that someone says to me, I want to own a Porsche, for example, but they're not doing what they need to do in order to earn the money to get that Porsche. It's a dream, it's not really a goal. So as I say, this isn't an exhaustive list. It just gives you an idea about thinking about the kind of language that you're using in your goal. So let's look at the goal creation model. So you'll notice that this model looks a bit different maybe to models you've seen before. I've done it on purpose. 6 years of university and 18, 19 years of corporate life. I got really bored of seeing models that were either boxes or circles, or sometimes boxes and circles with arrows, because that made it more exciting. So I decided that when I was creating this model, I was going to make it fun, I was going to make it a bit different, but also, of course, make sure that it gave you what you needed. So for whatever reason, the day that I created that model, I took myself off to a fun fair. So if you look at it, you'll sort of see that in there. So the very first thing you need for a goal is desire. If you don't desire the goal, it isn't something that you really want. It isn't actually your goal. And I appreciate at work sometimes you have goals, you have objectives that are set that you don't desire. They're part and parcel of your working life, maybe around health and safety, for example. They're things that you have to do, but they're not actually your goals. They're rules and regulations that you need to follow, that you will write as a goal as part of your objectives. So first thing you need is desire. Then what you need is positive language. You're going to be working on this goal for a significant period of time. You want it to be positive, you want it to lift you up and make you excited about what you're going to do. The next thing you want to do is you want to practice your language. And what you want to do is to experiment with it. Play around with how you can structure your goal. Because what you'll notice is there is a confidence rating under your goal that goes from 1 to 10. And what you're wanting to achieve is a goal that's a 10. If you can't get a 10 in your confidence rating, you need to go back and practice with your language. Now when I say you need a 10, what that means is when you say it to yourself, and I want you to say it to yourself 3 times, note how you feel about that goal. Are you excited? Are you motivated? Or are you feeling a little bit apprehensive? Or are you feeling a little bit concerned about it? Note your feelings, because if you're at a 10, you might be nervous about doing something, but the excitement and the motivation will overtake that feeling of overtake your nerve, should I say, and you'll be able to get it to a 10. So if I give you an example, so this is the first time that I've been filmed doing a flip chart and pen, well, aside from the fact that I've clearly written on this flip chart earlier with practicing, but nonetheless, if I was coming to this and I was worrying about whether, for example, I found a piece of flip chart paper that had writing on it, or I lost my train of thought, or any of those sort of negative thoughts came into my mind, then I would be struggling to deliver this. But actually, I love this stuff, I talk about it all the time, and I am human, I'm sure I've earned through this, and all sorts of things I'll notice in the outtakes. But nonetheless, because I enjoy this and I'm very passionate about it, the opportunity to have a flip chart and pen and get a video talking about something I'm passionate about is far more exciting to me than the anxiety and nerves about potentially doing something wrong. And that's just playing around with what you're doing. So back to this then. So you get your 10, and what you're doing is you're practicing. So you'll notice on the diagram, it looks like that hammer where you're wanting to get the little, I don't know what it's called. I was going to say widget, but it's not a widget. I don't know what it is. But anyway, it goes all the way up to the bell and it dings. So that's your 10. And then what you've got is you've got a goal that's got motivation and confidence built in it. It's also clear and precise, which is very important in a goal. And you're ready to go. There's your goal. So what you're going to actually write as a goal this week is actually your career goal. If you go back to week 2 and look at your career MOT, you'll note that I asked you to create 3 actions. What you're going to do now is you're going to look at those actions, and from those actions you're going to create a goal. Don't worry if now that you look back, maybe you want to change them slightly. That's absolutely fine. You're moving forward with Dare to Thrive, but you've also, things are changing in your working world. What we're going to do is we're going to look at your next career goal. If you go into the booklet and look at the goal that I've written about, you'll see it's written about being online. It's about bringing my passion and my knowledge to my online tools. It's also got a timeline of March 2019. It's got a lot of positivity in there. So we've actually got what I'm actually delivering, which is an online library. We've got the thing that's really motivating and making me very excited about it. I'm passionate about psychology, which today I actually can't spell. But I also have a lot of knowledge about it. So it's very exciting for me to be able to bring these 2 things together and create it online. Something I've never done before. And as I said, I've given myself to March 2019 in order to do it. The reason it's March 2019 is because that is a big goal. But I don't want it to take over the whole of 2019. This library won't be complete, won't have everything it's ever going to have in it in March 2019. but it will have enough for me to say that's phase 1 and launch. So play around with your career goal, play around a little bit with your timelines, and make sure that you're hitting these. You've got the tangible evidence result, but you've also got this part, which is critical, which is the bit that incites and motivates you. Have a go, play around with this, play around with the language, write your goal, maybe leave it for a day or two and come back to it again, check that it still gets you your 10 and see where it takes you. You're also going to do the Unhelpful Thinking Challenge again this week. Every week you're going to do this, and the reason that I'm asking you to keep doing it is that I am teaching you a new behaviour. New behaviours, they take time to do. So to start with, they feel quite clunky, you're doing them and you're following the process, but it feels a little bit unusual. I call it the learning wobbles. I talk about that on LinkedIn quite a bit if you connected to me on LinkedIn. What I'm wanting to get by week 8 is that you don't need me to prompt you to do this. Every day you're thinking about your mindset and how positive you're feeling, and if it isn't where you want to be, you're going to have this nice little library, if you will, of things that you've done throughout Dare to Thrive where you can go, here's some things I could do to lift my mood. And it doesn't matter what situation, you've got a couple of things there to help you along. Enjoy week 5. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch with me, and enjoy writing your career goal.